was crying a lot. There was a point in my life that I thought that you could actually cry yourself to death. Because I couldn't speak to my husband, I would just scream at my children as if it's their fault, and it wasn't.
I was like, okay, I don't want to leave my son here. I was like always thinking of committing suicide for two people now, me and my son. I never enjoyed life. I always have that thing of, is my son gonna experience what I've experienced in life or what? You know, that's how bad it was.
Our youth is going astray. Our youth is really, really dying out there.
People were dying of HIV and AIDS. People didn't know how you get HIV and AIDS, how do you get infected, and people were not talking about it. So people were very scared. At FAMSA, we are running a program, HIV and AIDS program. We've got counselors that are placed at this facility to do counseling and testing for HIV and AIDS. But with the information and the education that we're giving to people, people started to realize I can prevent myself from getting HIV and AIDS, even if my sister does have the infection. So people now are starting to be more accepting of people that are HIV positive.
We are sisonke mothers who are doing bidding, who are living with HIV and AIDS. We don't have any job, so we decided to come here and do bidding so that we can support our kids.
I do remember the first time Richard hit me. It wasn't severely at the time, as I've had since. He slapped me around, he threw me down on the bed, he choked me. I did have quite bad marks on my neck. And all I could remember or think at the time was how offended he used to get when a neighbor used to beat his wife and we used to have to go and rescue her. How very angry he used to get at this gentleman.
Life had become unbearable at home there, and it was punctuated by fits of violence and verbal violence, you know, much arguing and fights and throwing of things, and towards the end we were both doing it.
You were having a normal day. There was no abuse. You were just a normal person for one day. You ring up a friend, and when she hears your voice, her instinct is something happened to you. It wasn't a great way to live. I believe that's why people don't talk to their family and friends, is that they end up feeling as if there's something wrong with them.
It was her suggestion that we actually come to FAMSA.
You know, when somebody comes in, it's really usually at a time when they're at a crossroads, and where to walk into a space where you're not going to be judged or told what to do, because people have the power to make decisions about their own lives.
People come here with no options, with no alternatives, with nothing, like they don't know what to do. So by counseling them, you open their mind. You bring options on the table, then they decide what to do.
I could see that he was like always worrying, "Mommy, are you fine?" Because he knows me very well. When I'm with Sangalo, I speak everything that's bothering me. I can say I'm open to her and she's open to me. because she was there to listen. She was there not to judge, but to show me that I've got my son, so if I kill myself, what's going to happen to my son? Those kind of things.
For many people, counseling is seen as a luxury. If I need to go and see somebody because I'm unhappy about something in my family, and it means that I'm going to have to use the money that I would need to buy a loaf of bread or buy electricity, then counseling, drops off the table.
My husband was retrenched after 13 years. And to him, I think that was something he couldn't deal with up until today.
Hello, Esther.
Hi, Masha. The way Masha handled him, the way the session turned out, it was priceless.
I had to be neutral and I couldn't take sides. So he could see it in a better light.
After that session with Masha, he has agreed to continue counseling.
That is wonderful.
Absolutely.
And Esther, that means at least he's trying.
He is. At the end of the tunnel, there is light.
And you're on the doorstep. It's on your doorstep
on
now.
the doorstep. And I'm so positive. I cannot explain that feeling.
We're human beings, and a lot of us are in pain, and a lot of us are disconnected, and a lot of us sit with a lot of stuff that we don't even know about. And sometimes just to have the opportunity to come in and talk about it.
Because I always looked at myself as a woman that's intelligent. I run a fairly successful small business of my own for many years. And I was sitting at this place having to acknowledge to a stranger that I've been beaten, slapped around, kicked around, physically, mentally. I think it wasn't the abuse, it was the fact that I had to admit it right here, right then.
We were both so angry that there wasn't going to be any common ground, that we could at least start from. The only common ground we had at the time was that we had an agreement to come here, and seek help. And this is how I ended up going to the men's group. And when we come into the men's group here, we're given the opportunity to actually bare your soul and feel comfortable doing it, because there's no judging going on in the group.
The men's group, essentially, it's a psychoeducational treatment program for perpetrators of domestic violence. It seeks to guide men to find more equality-based and non-violent ways to handle high-risk situations and to handle arguments and to handle disputes that they may have with their partner or their children or with others.
When men get into a group, I'm not talking about like at FAMSA, but the sort of men get together, they talk about stuff which is external to themselves. There's no soul searching going on. Even close friends, they don't do this very easily.
It becomes sort of a support network for these men, knowing that they have a space on a Thursday evening where they can come and discuss these issues, to discuss the difficulties that they have in their relationship, to discuss the difficult arguments that they're having, and just to get sort of feedback from the rest of the men and from the facilitators. It is a very valuable aspect of the group.
Everybody at some point needs some kind of help. And it's for them, when they've been to 2 or 3 sessions, then they start to identify more and more and more with, this guy isn't an oak that just comes home and beats up his wife. There's like a whole story attached to it, There's no 5-minute fixes, they can't throw a couple of pills on you and get you to phone on Monday kind of thing, because it doesn't fix the problem. So I find myself not getting angry about a lot of stuff. I find myself more able to pick my battles.
Every man that we reach, every man where we can bring about change, it's rewriting the history of that family. You want to be able to look at your son and say, hey, he's not going to end up in the FAMSA program. He has different values. He knows how to respect himself and therefore respect the partners in his life.
The more people speak out about violence happening in the home, the more something could be done.
You need to sort out relationships at home first, before you can even think of building cohesive relationships to build a country.
Violence doesn't only affect families, it affects the community, it affects society.
FAMSA plays a very good role for us there in the community, because now it keeps our children in a safe place. They stay for the long hours, you see. I would say thanks to God for bringing us to FAMSA here in our community.
For me to come to work in the morning is a pleasure. The staff are committed. We've all got job descriptions, but we don't stick to it. We all do things together. We work as a team.
Well, I think we're very privileged at FAMSA because wherever you go, in whatever situation you're working, relationships is part of life. We're not isolated. We relate to people all the time. And here it is the focus of our work.
Coming to FAMSA changed how I deal with everything relating to my problems.
Quite frankly, I don't know what I would do if there wasn't a FAMSA. I don't know where I would actually be now.
I've never come across an institution that deals with family to such an extent that a person that the most difficult person, they know how to work with him. They know how to get to the bottom and to the root of problems.
Since I've came here, then I'm trying to look things on a different side and see how are things, even though it's really difficult, but I'm trying to get my pieces together. I'm feeling better, really better, because each and every time I take like it's a golden opportunity.
I would like to really thank FAMSA from the bottom of my heart.